Hey guys, Youngblood with you, and in today's journey through the Starmap, we're leaving our pattern of kind of jumping through different jump points and following those, and scooting back into UEE populated space to Stanton. Now, whether you know it or not, we're flying in Stanton in Alpha 2.0 right now, so it seemed appropriate to come back here and kind of give you the rundown of what is going to be our home, at least until we get more systems added. Stanton is an interesting system with 4 planets orbiting a dwarf G star, and what makes this place so unique is that all 4 planets in the system are actually within the green band of the star. 4 planets being in inhabitable space is really pretty crazy, and when you consider the fact that they needed very little terraforming to even get ready for humans, this place was a jackpot discovery. Strangely enough, though, no one really knows who found Stanton, but the best bet is on a trader that spread the word to his friends and family, and when people heard about the potential for high incomes in the system, they packed up and headed that direction. Eventually, the word started to spread, and when someone in the UEE heard about this, they basically said, well, if there's money there, we need to get there. And they moved in citing eminent domain and basically took the whole system from everybody that was already there, saying that they needed to protect the rest of the UEE space by controlling these jump points. There was a problem though, because the UEE was actually in like an economic recession, and they didn't really have the funds available to be spending on colonizing yet another system. Being the opportunistic people that they were though, the UEE went to massive companies and almost silently offered up these planets for purchase. And while we don't know how much money they actually went for, estimates are suggesting that trillions of dollars were entering the UEE banking system, and 4 companies moved in to claim their planets. Hurston Dynamics, Crusader Industries, ArcCorp, and MicroTech. That's cool and all, corporate-owned planets, but taking advantage of their new prizes, they capitalized on that advertising opportunity, and the planets were named Hurston, Crusader, ArcCorp, and MicroTech. Kind of lame, but it fits into the lore pretty well. But yeah, there's a planet called MicroTech. Stanton 1 was the planet that was purchased by Hurston, and it was rapidly established as a mining opportunity. And Hurston is known for making weaponry. That makes this an interesting location for those of you that are interested in finding places to go upgrade your ship's weapons. Hurston also exports a ton of goods, so those of you with transport ships are probably going to find good contract opportunities here for hauling arms from Hurston to their final destinations. The planet has basically had its atmosphere completely destroyed at this point, though, and pretty much all the indigenous life was killed off thanks to the impacts of mining and the industrial machine that basically lived here. Hurston has 4 moons, with the first being Ida, which was named for Hurston, who was killed during the First Tevaran War. Ariel is another moon that's named after a CEO of the company. Magda, which is named for the Hurston CEO that decided to actually buy the planet. And Aberdeen, which is named after a scientific Hurston who created the first antimatter warhead. Seems there might be more weaponry here than just the guns that we're used to talking about when we're talking about antimatter, with this company. Stanton 2 is Crusader, and this is where we're currently spending most of our time, and it might be the most interesting planet in the universe to go visit, because you don't normally think about inhabited gas giants, but thanks to the breathable upper atmosphere and the floating platforms that were built by the military, that's exactly what we have. Sort of like a cloud city in Star Wars, at least that's kind of the vibe that I pick up when talking about Crusader. But when Crusader Industries, who is the company that makes the Genesis Starliner, moved into this system, they expanded upon that framework that was built up by the UEE, and they made massive shipyards and built nice homes for the employees that are kind of interspersed into the lattice. This place is going to be available for visitors to come and check out and just do touristy things, and knowing the fidelity of the graphics that we currently have in-game, I can't help but feel that this is going to be a trip that's worth making. And an interesting fact is that Crusader ships are so large that they typically build them in space. But with these open floating, open air types platforms that they're working on, they're actually able to build these in atmosphere and save 40% on every ship, which then ends up getting passed on to the customers. Now, I can't wait to come check out this planet. But in orbit here, you've got 3 moons, all of which are named after a tale from the 24th century. Selen is covered in currently dormant volcanoes. Yela, which we can visit now, has an icy crust and an orbiting asteroid field. And Daymar, which has a bizarre orbit of its own. Now, those are all going to be natural satellites, but there are others here, including ones that we're familiar with, like Port Alizar, or Cryastro, and Security Post Korea. And Security Post Korea was actually built to house Crusader industry personnel, the security folks, and it's almost operational. Stanton 3 is ArcCorp, and it's the planet we have seen probably the most of to this point, and it served as the social module testbed. It's said to be incredible to look at as the entire planet has been covered with civilization with no remaining natural habitats left. The primary business here is the construction of fusion engines, and they make hundreds of thousands of them a year for spaceships. And there's more to ArcCorp though, because we get a taste of that planet side, because ArcCorp leases out space to all sorts of different companies, basically meaning that if there's something you're looking for, or really anything you're looking for, you can probably find it here on Stanton 3. An interesting note for ArcCorp is that they believe it looks very similar to what early GN factory worlds looked like. And we may be along a similar evolutionary path in regards to our civilization styles if we continue to build planets like Stanton 3. Now, there's 2 moons in orbit here, with Lyria being the first, and it has cryo geysers and cryo volcanoes, whatever the hell that means. Maybe they spit ice or something, but go visit it, find out, and we'll see what it means. And the other one is Walla, and its density is so low that it's basically oblong now, thanks to the pull of the other planets and bodies in the system. And the final planet here is MicroTech in the 4th position. The planet was initially planned to be fairly temperate like the others when you talk about its climate. However, a bit of bad math during the terraforming planning means that there's more clouds that are being produced than expected, and the temperatures here are colder as a result. This is the home of the Moby-glass, but MicroTech does a lot more than just that. They build out all sorts of fancy electronics, avionics for ships, that sort of thing. So if you're looking for better sensors for technology or fighting, MicroTech is going to be a really good place to go visit. They're like ArcCorp on this planet in that they also lease out space to other companies, and that includes its own competitors, which has created this really good competition for new and better technologies that have really developed here as a result. And it states in the notes that you can head to Wally's Bar for info and work on cargo, which I think is more than just lore. I think that's probably going to be a decent place to pick up contracts. Stanton currently has 3 jump points leading to Terra, Pyro, and Magnus. And the UEE was probably right to want to set up a presence in this system, considering Pyro and Magnus are some pretty dangerous places. But even though I say that, the UEE actually no longer polices this region, which is probably why Crusader has their own security outpost. Instead, there's these mercenaries that do the job that have been hired by the massive companies that own this system. The law is still the law, though, so there's no getting away with murder, or you're less likely to get away with murder, or something like that, but you still need to kind of follow the law. So who is going to enjoy this system? And I think there's probably some people that may even want to try and make this their home. First off, I think everybody is going to want to visit this place because 2 pretty much totally populated planets in a floating city, I mean, it's just going to be really cool and you're going to want to come check it out. Transport is going to be big business here. With nothing but corporations, bringing goods in and out is likely going to be huge, especially having the trade hub on ArcCorp, which is going to allow you to find contracts that you can take on. Escorts and mercenaries are going to find good work protecting all these freighters that are traveling throughout the system. There's an asteroid field here, and with no notes about who owns the rights right now, you may be able to find some good mining locations. And pirates, I think, are going to have a pretty good time here, considering that they're 1 jump away from 2 systems that seem to be kind of pirate-laden systems anyway. So that's going to be it. I think this is going to be a really good system for people to at least travel to, but there's good business here, and I think it's going to end up being one of the more populated systems, especially considering we're getting exposure to it now and people are going to be more comfortable with it. So if you have questions about this, please put it in the comments, or if you have anything to add, go ahead. Otherwise, stay tuned for a whole lot more content. Have yourselves a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you guys later. Take care.